And I now give the floor to the representative of the Syrian Arab Republic.
شكرا سيد الرئيس.
Thank you, Madam President. Today coincides with the 25th anniversary of the entry into force of the Convention on the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, which constitutes an essential pillar of the non-proliferation regime, and which aims to spare humanity the catastrophic effects and scourge of the use of weapons of mass destruction, especially this very kind. However, achieving the universality of this convention will remain elusive as long as there are those who continue to provide immunity to Israel and its arsenal of chemical weapons and other weapons of mass destruction, which represents a serious threat to regional and international peace and security. This convention and its executive body have made significant achievements, notably by assisting the Syrian government in 2013 with the elimination of its stockpiles of chemical weapons, which won the OPCW the Nobel Peace Prize. However, the application of this convention has faced a number of challenges given the reluctance by the United States of America to comply with its obligations, namely to destroy its stockpiles of chemical weapons within the deadlines set for that. Meanwhile, in recent years, this convention has been manipulated and politicized by certain governments of some Western countries, which used the same as a tool to target and blackmail the governments of countries that refuse to capitulate to their instructions. Ladies and gentlemen, this month of April also reminds us of two military aggressions against the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Syria. The first was committed by the USA on 7th of April 2017, targeting the Shairat airport. The second was again committed by the United States together with the United Kingdom and France on 14th of April 2018, bombing the Scientific Research and Studies Center, SSRC, and other sites. Those unprovoked and unjustified attacks require that the perpetrators thereof should be held accountable. Those who raise the issue of holding chemical weapons users accountable should also call for holding accountable those states that support and facilitate the possession and use by terrorist groups of toxic chemical substances. Accountability is an important and sensitive legal issue that must be anchored in professional and substantive and objective investigations and should be built on concrete and conclusive evidence, and in accordance with impeccable legal mechanisms. Accountability cannot be achieved by way of manipulating provisions of conventions or violating the provisions of the Charter of the United Nations, or through the establishment and creation of illegitimate mechanisms in violation of internationally applicable legal standards. Nor can accountability be achieved by following unprofessional modus operandi. Madam President, the Syrian Arab Republic has fully cooperated with the OPCW and has fulfilled its obligations under the CWC. Syria has joined the convention voluntarily and in good faith, and showed readiness to implement the same immediately, even before its entry into force. Syria has provided detailed information, including the names, types, and quantities of chemical agents, types of munition, production and storage facilities, and thus destroyed its stocks and production facilities by joint efforts and in record time. And this is duly confirmed by the reports of the OPCW. The Syrian Arab Republic has consistently furnished the Security Council 1540 Committee and the Technical Secretariat of the OPCW with information proving that the members of Daesh and Jabhat al-Nusra and their affiliated groups and their pursuit of acquiring and possessing toxic chemical substances and their attempts to use the same against Syrians, including by staging fabricated chemical attacks to implicate the Syrian Arab Army. Recently, my delegation conveyed information about the possession of toxic chemicals and missiles by al-Nusra Front, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, that were modified and armed with these toxic chemicals in Idlib Governorate in coordination with the Turkish regime forces in preparation for fabricating a chemical incident. The possession by those terrorist groups of chemical weapons or toxic chemical substances and the use thereof is very critical. Thus, my delegation stresses the need to seriously address this important information. We also consider that the full and accurate implementation of the provisions of the CWC by all state parties is crucial and key to prevent terrorist groups from possessing those weapons. Madam President, Syria is keen on holding the high-level meeting between the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates and the DG of the OPCW as soon as possible to address all issues related to the work of the OPCW teams according to a specific and comprehensive agenda to achieve progress. Syria renews its welcoming the deployment of the DAT within the framework of the 25th round of consultations. Syria stands ready to receive the whole team except for one member to whom we have objected previously due to his lack of objectivity and professionalism. It is well known that the OPCW has hundreds of experts who are capable of undertaking this task, unless they aim at creating a problem or creating false impressions about Syrian cooperation. Thus, we do reject the allegations by some or certain countries who are trying to discredit the seriousness of Syria in achieving its obligations. In terms of the FFM, Syria has spared no effort in furnishing the FFM with all facilitations necessary to discharge its mandate. However, the FFM did not observe its terms of reference or the provisions of the Convention. It has rather deviated from the track of independence and professionalism that are required by its mandate. The fact-finding mission conducted its investigations virtually and remotely and received samples not collected directly thereby without verifying the chain of custody. They also depended on footages and videos from open sources and affidavits of persons from terrorist groups' incubators. My delegation expresses its deep concern over the delay and procrastination of the fact-finding mission in completing its reports on the incidents that Syria requested to be investigated regarding the use of chemical weapons by terrorist groups. There are certain incidents reported by Syria over 5 years ago. However, this mission is yet to provide any reports regarding the same. and I have not heard any single observation or remark in this regard. In conclusion, Madam President, the commemoration of the 25th anniversary of the Chemical Weapons Convention is an opportunity for us to renew the call to depoliticize the OPCW and preserve its technical nature, while addressing, in the meantime, the wrongful practices of its various teams. Thank you, Madam President.
I thank the representative of the Syrian Arab Republic for his statement.